Welcome back to another anime reviews. This time, Ameku MD, Doctor Detective. Now we have the synopsis from my anime list. Nestled away on the rooftop of Tenikai General Hospital is the unconventional Department of Investigative Pathology, headed by the eccentric Dr. Takao Ameku. The tiny department, consisting of Takao and her sole resident Yu Kotori Takanashi, treats complex cases that most other departments within the hospital cannot resolve on their own. The mystery-obsessed Takao always tries to insert herself into cases that capture her fancy, much to the dismay of her colleagues and the police. Even if her meddling creates more problems for the hospital and those around her, none can deny the brilliance that the young department head exhibits as she weaves the diagnosis together. No matter the specialty, no case is impossible for Takao and a somewhat reluctant Takanashi to solve. Now, this is like more or less a medical detective Conan. Without the overarching story, so to say. So you have a case, you have our main character. Our main character is a little bit smaller. It's the Dr. Detective Takao Ameku. I don't like her voice. I don't know why. It's a little bit grating, but that is just personal opinion. However, that is our main character. She has a sidekick. That is the guy. You see him behind her, main character, guy behind her, and you get a case. It is mostly medical focused or has a medical component, and most a criminal component. And then she goes there, she solves the case because it has some medical stuff, and that is more or less the story. You have like 3 or 4 cases, or maybe 5. I do not remember exactly, and it feels Detective Conan. It definitely feels like you have this character that is pretty intelligent in their field. You have a case, this character gets like a little hint to that case and bam, solves the case. Maybe puts up a little trap, and it's medical detective Conan. Without the overarching story, which in my opinion holds this whole story back a little bit. You don't have any overarching story bits, but the cases itself are pretty interesting, I would say. They do have a little disclaimer. It's not 100% accurate to medicine, naturally. But I did find some of the cases interesting. The problem is, in my opinion, in Detective Conan, you most of the time have like murder cases. It's just, hey, X killed Y in Z, whatever. Clue, X killed someone in the billiard room with a baseball bat. And it's pretty easy to follow. After you get a couple episodes in Detective Conan, you see like, okay, how the cases evolve and are built up, and you can start to solve them yourself, which is pretty nice. And this is the main draw of these things most of the time, is that you yourself can sit there and try to solve the case, which is very enjoyable, especially if you get it right. That is always a good part. Maybe partially, maybe 100%. It just gives you that dopamine of, I got it, I'm so good. In this case, because it is medical related, it is very hard for normal people to get the case solved before the doctor gives you like the rundown what really happened. I only got one of the cases more or less solved because of personal experience. which felt really good. All the other cases, I had no clue. Naturally, you would try to guess, but my guess was off because they were pretty big medicine-related things that I had no clue about. Which, if you have like a little bit of a background in medicine, I feel like you could really enjoy solving these cases. If you do not, it is going to be a little bit difficult, in my opinion, to really get into it. However, you can still just enjoy the show and get some information, some knowledge, because you are getting smarter, more or less, even if it is not 100%. Parts of it are still true. Character-wise, I did not like the main character that much. I was okay with the sidekick. I really dislike the police. It is really awful. This is a little bit of a spoiler, not spoiler in how the case is solved. However, after the case is solved, you have like the culprit, who is now more or less seen as a culprit. We get the rundown, what exactly happened, what they did. We now have like, okay, so we should take him in. We should arrest him and take him into custody. Now the police is there. You see the police on the left side. These two guys are the police part of the investigation. They are there, and instead of arresting the culprit is able to still do stuff after he got caught red-handed, which is, it happened twice, and it was so stupid, in my opinion. It was just stupid. It felt really awful. They felt really incompetent. They did redeem themselves later, sure, but in that case, it felt really meh. Otherwise, we get smarter, we get some interesting aspects of medicine, some interesting ways to how murder can be perpetrated. I don't know if you want to know that. I mean, it's interesting to know. Knowledge is always good. We also get some pretty humane parts of the show. There's one part of the story which is, it did broke my heart a little bit, which is very nice because it's not all action comedy stuff. So overall, I did like the show quite a lot. The problem for me really is there's no visible overarching story at the moment. It's like, okay, you have this department, they solve these cases, they're like the power duo, cool, but there's no like mystery organization like in Detective Conan, even though it is like in the far background. There's no real there's a little bit rivalry, but not really the big rival like in Kaito Kid in Detective Conan, which is always enjoyable whenever they fight. So overall, it feels like it is missing the overarching part. The user score is 7.1. I would also say it is like a 7 out of 10. I would say it is a higher 7 out of 10. It could even be an 8. If the police was not as incompetent as it was at the beginning, I would probably give it like an 8. It is mostly because there's not much competition in the mystery medicine related field. The only thing I could think of is Detective Conan in like the mystery solving aspect that is similar. Otherwise, I don't really have much in the genre. So if you like solving mysteries, if you like them having a little bit medicine related stuff, then this is definitely a show you could look into.